Hello everyone and welcome back to the Belgian Beer Brothers channel. I'm still Cedric and this is still the Brussels Beer Project Advent Calendar Countdown. We're counting down to Christmas, we're counting down to some cool content starting in January, and today is day 8, or rather day 1 of week 2. 3 more weeks to go. I'm not going to do a recap of all beers every day, I've done that for the last few days, but it's going to take quite a while if I'm gonna do this every day, mainly the last week. So let's just jump right in there. Yesterday I found out that number 8 was straight underneath number 7, which is a good thing. That means there's not that much weight on top anymore, and it should be only easier to get the beer out. And we have another can here. Very exciting. It's very light colored. Oh, cool. It's called Arctic Summer, and it's a very nice can design, as usual. Brussels Beer Project always has cool can designs. What does this say? It is a cold IPA. I did read about this beer again as well. Now, at the moment of recording, the Advent calendar entry is not online yet, but I did read about this on their website last week, I believe, or a few weeks ago. And what I recall is that it's a cold brewed beer. How do you say in English? A low fermented beer, meaning low fermentation is mainly around 10, 12, maybe 15 degrees centigrade, whereas most of our beers, mainly in Belgium, are high fermented beers, and high fermentation is more around 20, 25, sometimes 30 degrees, let's say 25 degrees centigrade on average. And also if you look at the barrels or the CCTs, or the big silos where the beer ferments, a low fermentation is more around the bottom and a high fermentation is more on top of the silo. We will get into detail about that later on, not right now, because these are only like 10-minute videos and I'd like to keep it that way. But we will go into detail about fermentation sometime next year. What else can I say? It's got a cool ice bear with sunglasses and a nice sunny ray across its body. And what does this can tell us? Cheers to a super refreshing and highly drinkable big dry hop. When lager yeast at cool temperature makes magic, buckle up for a one-way trip to an Arctic summer. So yeah, they're telling us it's a lager yeast, so I am quite right with the low fermentation. What else do they tell us? Pilsner, malt, rice flakes and corn flakes, which is cool. Another easily digestible beer. It is a 6% ABV, not super low, but it's more around a Pilsner, a heavy Pilsner. Simcoe, Centennial, Mosaic, Cryo hops, Eldorado hops and Amarillo hops. I did remember it had a lot of hops. I thought it was only 3 or 4 kinds, but apparently there are 5. Again, they are using their ingredients incorporated in the theme of the beer, or they build a theme around the ingredients. Cryo is a kind of freeze-dried or frozen hop pellets, and the main advantage is you need less of it. It's a lot more expensive, but it's a lot easier to store. If you only need half, you only need half the space. Same thing for transport. So it's an up-and-coming kind of hop. And if I read this, I'm actually thinking that it's not so much a cold IPA. Well, it's a cool name, of course, but it sounds like a dry hopped lager or a dry hopped pilsner. And honestly, I like those. There are not many breweries that make those. In fact, this is the second or third one I'll be drinking. There's one that I absolutely love, and I believe it's one of the favorite beers of one of my best friends, who you'll also know from YouTube. He's the Broke Belgian, a travel blogger. And that beer is Super Cadix, a superhero themed dry hopped lager with some more special specs that I won't go into detail now. But it's a beer by one of my favorite breweries as well, ABC, or Antwerp Brewing Company. We will be talking about that later on as well, and we'll probably even visit that brewery, and if we're lucky we can even have a talk with the brewer. That being said, well, actually I've said way too much in advance. Let's crack this open, because I am very, very, very eager to taste this. It ticks quite a lot of my boxes. Again, one of the red threads in the Brussels Beer Project beers is a lot of hop, a lot of IPAs, but I think that's normal. They're quite a young urban brewery, and they do follow trends, or actually they even make some trends, if I'm honest. So let's just crack it open and see what this gives. I am hoping... Oh, I love that sound. I am hoping that it's a bit more bitter than sweet or fruity, but let's check. Ooh. Oh yeah. I have worked a lot with Simcoe and Centennial hop, and actually Mosaic and Amarillo as well. Let's say this smells like a fridge I've been in quite often. A lot of real hop smells, not just the aromas, but the bitterness as well. So, oh, that's light. That's very, very clear, not hazy at all. Well, it is now with the bubbles, but those are gonna pull up in a second. Look at that. It's crystal clear. Yeah, nothing of a veil, no yeast. Not a hint in there. Some tiny, tiny bubbles, some nice sweet pearls. Again, a rather pale yellowy color. Again, very white foam. It's just hop all around. Very aromatic as always. But it's less fruit, more bitter, more of the bitter hops. I think I'm gonna like this. Yeah. This is actually exactly what I expected. As with most of the beers we've had this week, it's a bit thin. And I do mean the mouthfeel, not the taste, because the taste is spot on. It's absolutely right. Exactly what you would expect from this label. It is very refreshing. And it might have been a few degrees colder for me. But of course that's my fault, not the brewery's. But I do see me drinking this in summer on a terrace. When the weather is quite hot, those few days. Of course, I do live in Belgium, which is next to England, and we do have some English summers. Of course, that's why we make all the heavy beers and the Trappists, and all the beers that slap you in the face. But this is really, really nice and refreshing. I think if I take my bicycle to the city and I'm thirsty and I want to refresh myself and hydrate myself, this is more or less something that I would order. Yeah, this instead of a Pilsner. Of course, despite all the beers we have here, Pilsner is still the biggest seller. Well, anywhere in the world, I believe. But this comes quite close. It's also rather close to the Super Cadix I've told you about. I guess I'll be having one of those in a few weeks. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of aroma hops or extra hops or double dry hops or all those things, but this works for me. And if I get my hands on an extra one of these, if they're not sold out already, I think we'll make it a double bill in sometime with the Broke Belgium, because he's also a Thailand fan. He'll be in Thailand in a few weeks, I believe, and I'll take this one and the Ludlock for him to taste. Okay. Again, approved. Alright, as always guys, if you liked what I had to say, or if you like what you see, and I do mean the beer when I say that, like, comment, maybe even subscribe. Look around, I'll have some links here for you. I'll have the links to the breweries in the comments. And I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Cheers guys.